All right, there. So you're most welcome. This is a special interview. Right after at the World Relays, a lot of talk has been made about the Ghana team, the women and the men qualifying for the Olympic Games. The women are unable to make it, but they still have that wee bit of space to be able to make it to Tokyo 2020. And you see the man right there in the middle of the screen is Professor Christian Nsiah. Was with the Ghana team as they won a historic gold medal at the African Games, all Africa Games those days at Abuja 2003. Now, he was coach of the national team when won gold at the African Games 2019, and he led the team out to Silesia 2021. Coach, Professor, Doctor, I will add everything to it. Congratulations, and I just don't know how to say it, but the sort of national fervor we had running through Ghana beyond globally when Ghana was able to make that final was just something else. So we want to thank you for bringing back the smiles on the faces of athletics lovers and sports people in general.
Thank you. But the congratulatory message really belongs to the athletes. If people know what the athletes had to go through to even be there in Silesia to represent our beloved country, they will be amazed. What they achieved there was nothing but magical. I dove my heart out to them. They are a wonderful group of people, and they are amazing.
Wonderful. So when you look back, I mean, it's been a few days now. Today's a Tuesday, and it happened Saturday, Sunday. When you look back, what are the reflections that come quickly to your minds?
If I look back, what I know for sure is that with what they achieved, it makes me know that with the right preparation, with a given time for them to work together, it will mean that the team can win some amazing laurels for the country. I think that their performances show that if we give them the right resources, these athletes, this group of athletes that we have, they are very talented. They will do amazing job for the country.
And given the historical context of this, I mean, a lot of people say we are a sprinting nation. I mean, we produce top athletes like yourself in the past, Leo Myles-Mills, Aziz Zakari, Eric Nkansa, so many of you. And to capture it, I mean, we've not won a medal in athletics at the Olympic Games. And this was our first final at the World Relays, which interestingly only started 2014. But we want to look back at the 90s. I don't know what was going through you as you saw the boys out there. Can you just take us back and capture the historical context of this?
You see, the last time Ghana qualified for an international relay championship like at global level was 1996. And it's amazing that it's taking that long for us to get back there. And it's nothing short of the fact that we are not, as a nation, not taking this sport seriously, a sport that we are good at, a sport that everybody knows that Ghana has a talent. Look at countries like South Africa. They couldn't touch Ghana back in the day. But now, at Silesia, who won? South Africa. Why? They have dedicated resources to these people. I look back and it's just nostalgia looking at these kids doing what we were doing those days. I'm not saying that during that time things were perfect. However, we were a group of dedicated athletes, and this group of athletes that we have right now, they are dedicated just like that. So they remind me of our team, like Leo Myles-Mills, Eric Nkansa, Aziz Zakari, Albert Ajiman, Emmanuel Tufo. It reminds me of these times where people were dedicated to the nation. And, as somebody once said, if you wait for Ghana government to help you out, you are looking for failure. So the athletes had to do it on their own somewhat to get there. Apart from the GAA and everybody helping them through, they had to also be dedicated to get to the place. And that's the amazing part of all this. And I think that with the nation realizing that these kids are amazing and ready to take over the world, I'm hoping that things will change for them.
All right, so take us back 96, Atlanta. What happened?
So in 1996, I was on the team alongside with Eric Nkansa, Aziz Zakari, Emmanuel Tufo, and Albert Ajiman. And I ran in the heats of the 4x1, and I had a stress fracture. Those days they had 3 rounds in the 4x1. These days it's only 2 rounds. It's easier these days. Well, it's easier but harder also at the same time, because you have less amount of opportunities to get in the final. Our time, it was 3 rounds: heats, semifinal, and final. So I ran in the heats, and my stress fracture flared up, and so they replaced me with hurricane cancer. In the final, they brought me back to run in the race. Now, the thing is that there was a rule at the time that you cannot sit out a round and come back in. And unfortunately, our coaches didn't know that. And when we checked in for the race, it wasn't
I remember that incident. Did you just say your coaches did not know the rule?
Of course.
Because I remember, I think you guys lined up for the race, and then some officials just showed up with a red card and took Ghana off that.
Right. Because what happened was that the Olympic Stadium itself was about 5 miles away from the warm-up field where you check in the call room. So you check in and they put you on a bus and they drive you to the stadium. Now, what happened was that computer systems were not as fast as today. So when we checked in, even the check-in people didn't realize the problem. If they realized it, they would have told us right there and they could have switched. But what happened was that they only caught the problem when we were already on the bus going to the stadium. So they told our assistant coach, Coach Abeku, at the time that, hey, you guys cannot run. So they tried to get Nkansa back on the team, but it was too late. They couldn't let him. So we got on the track and they said, Ghana, you are disqualified. And we're like, why are we disqualified? We haven't even run the race yet, and they wouldn't tell us why. So it took the cops, actually, the security services to get us off the track. I mean, if it was today where social media is everywhere, we would have been the troll of the century, It was unfortunate because most of us were young. I think the oldest person on the team was at the time was Emmanuel Tufo Kura. The rest of us, that was our first Olympic Games. So can you imagine what that would have done for us if we were able to race in that competition? It's Olympic final. Anything can happen,
Wow, that's big. And so you had Sydney 2000, and then you had Athens 2004. Maybe to put it nicely, to atone for the near miss in Atlanta. Tell us about those two too.
So Sydney was the year that we had the best chance to medal at the Olympics. I'll tell you, I think that year we had about 7 or 8 sprinters in camp, everybody ready to go. And even if you look at that race in the semifinal, we were ahead. Leo Myles-Mills was the anchor leg. And it was unfortunate, a few meters before the finish line in the semifinal, he pulled his quad muscle. And that was the end of our chances there. I mean, if we knew that he was going to get hurt, we could have put anybody on the ankle leg that year and we still would have made the final and he could have come back to run the final. And nobody knew he was going to get hurt. I mean, you cannot predict these things, And so it was unfortunate that happened. In Athens, I'll put the blame on myself. I would say that in Athens, I normally was the first leg, and in Athens, when the gun right before the gun went off, I almost false started, and in the process of settling back in my blocks, they shot the gun. So whilst I was going backwards, trying to settle back in the blocks, they shot the gun. And think about this is a fast race, right? So every little second counts. So I put my team in the hole that year, and I'll gladly accept that blame on myself. So it was that year was something that we didn't pull out the best performance as a team, starting from me. Yeah.
Wow. Athens 2004. We couldn't make Beijing 2008. We couldn't make London 2012. We couldn't make Rio 2016. The girls qualified though. I'm talking about the men, and here we are qualifying for the Olympics. I look at this team, and maybe this is a good question to ask. How did you select the athletes for the World Relays?
For the World Relays, what we tried to do on both the men's side and the women's side was not to change the team too much, and also based on availability. Because you realize because of COVID and also because of most of our athletes being student athletes, Some coaches were not willing to release their athletes. Some were willing to release their athletes. So it was purely based on who has run and who was available. And also trying to keep the team from 2019 intact, because we knew because of the situation, we were only going to have a day or two of practice. So we didn't have to move too many bodies around, because that's more dangerous when you do that. So we were lucky that on the men's side, most of the people that we had, as Amati is running amazingly well, Joe Paul is running very well. And Sean, even though he hasn't competed much this season because of COVID, we know Sean is always good for his first leg. So the issue was, who do we get to add to the 3 to get to the 4? Right? And Joseph Menu, who's a very brand new guy on the team. So this is his first time that he's been on the national team. And he trains, he's in the same school as Joe Paul, and he's run a decent time this year. So we decided to go with him. And so this was his first representation of Ghana.
All right. So so it is more down to the call from 2019, and then one additional from Joseph. What about Martin Owusu-Antwi? Martin was with the team when you won gold in Rabat 2019. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he's actually running. The reason why Martin couldn't join the team is purely because Martin has graduated from his master's degree. He's doing what is called optional practical training. So he, visa-wise, he couldn't travel till he get into a different visa level in the United States of America. So that's the main reason why Martin couldn't join us on this trip. Otherwise, he would have been on the team.
Okay. All right. So what about the ladies? How was the selection done?
For what?
For the World Relays, I mean. So you had 5-member team in flanks. There was Gemma Champon, there was Hor Halutier, Janet Amponsa returning after 3-year absence, and then there was the youngster Latifa Ali, making up a team of 5. I'm just asking this question because I know there are a lot of athletics followers, and they want to know, how was the selection done? We have issues with selection in the past. Would you yourself involve at the point?
Yeah, I mean, in this particular instance, as you are aware, we had Miss Anoche, who was supposed to be part of the team. She is currently the fastest runner, but unfortunately, because of some misunderstanding here and there with her ability to acquire visa, she wasn't able to join the team. Again, we also, Latifa, who's also new on the team, amazingly young girl with a huge amount of talent. She's running very well, and that's why she was picked. There are a few other athletes that have run. For example, there's a lady, I forgot her name, but I think it's Safia. But for example, her situation too, she cannot travel. And so we would base our selection, even though I don't select the athletes, I get called and asked, what do you think about this person? But it was based purely on who is available and who has run. Flinks, for example, was available. She has not run this year, but we thought that we will have her as a backup because we don't have any. And if you look at the local athletes, the best time in the local field is at 12 seconds this year. And one of them initially was supposed to be on the team, but we had Halutier Hall, who has run under 12 seconds. So we decided to use her because she's been with the team before. And so to reduce the amount of possible errors, we use Halutier, for example, for it.
You went for experience. It seems to be the one thing running through the selection
right
there.
Right, exactly.
Okay. Kate Ajiman, I was
looking through some time to because of COVID and other people being have time to go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I really want you to end. Continue, please.
Yeah, as I said, because of the timing, and if you even listen to the athletes and even myself, my previous interviews I've done during these relays, we all mentioned the fact that we haven't had the opportunity to train. We were probably the only team at this relay championship that didn't have a residential camping before the competition. And it wasn't because we didn't want to camp the athletes, but it wasn't just possible because majority of the athletes are students and they have their schoolwork to do. Can you imagine, for example, I was sitting there, some of these athletes were doing their homework whilst we were at the Games Village. So it's not that easy to pull people out of school for a long time when they are in school. Plus, they are running for their schools. No coach that is paying for students' school fees will be happy for them to miss their conference championships and things like that. So yeah, it was basically due to those issues that made us not go for new athletes and also camp.
Okay, I think we've spoken quite a lot now. Let's hit the action and see some of the scenes from Silesia. Starting first with the boys' semi-final. I mean, they were up against it in terms of Chirandi Martina, the Netherlands, Guliev, the Turkish guy who won the 200 meters at the World Championship, the last one, 2019. I mean, all these guys were in this particular heat. And we see it on screen now. By way of strategy, as far as we are just journalists, we tend to sometimes do the media race and all that. But by way of strategy going into this, what was the strategy for your team? And maybe to tell us how you positioned them and why somebody ran the start, the back stretch, the curve, and then the ankle leg. What went into choosing this team?
Without giving too much away about our strategy, everybody knows that our two strongest legs are Joe Paul and Azamati. And the straightaways are the longest of the laps in the 4x1. So the idea is to always get your strongest people to run longer and shorten it for the other people. So if you look at it, Joe Paul, for example, like to go, catch people when they are ahead of him. So I like Joe Paul as my anchor for the most part because, look at him chasing after Chiranda Martini right there. If there was one more meter, Joe Paul would have beat him. This guy is a guy that has been in the 200-meter final at the last 3 Olympic Games. Look at what Joe Paul did to that guy. So again, those are some of the things that we think about. And also going back to what we have, this team was put together mainly in 2019. And Azamati and Sean has exchanged several times. Sean is an amazing starter. I mean, if you watch him, he's explosive and get out really well. So for me, Sean is always, unless he's not available, he's always my first leg, Yeah. But that's not to say that if we have a longer time together, we cannot switch them around. For example, Joe Paul can easily run any of the 4 legs. Azamati can run a curve. So if we are together in a camp for, let's say, a month and we have competition, we can try different things. For example, we can put Joe Paul on the second leg and elongate the exchange over there because Joe Paul is the best 200 runner on our team. So Joe Paul can run at least 110, 120 meters for us in there and put us at an advantage. So, but these are things that you can only try if you have time with the athletes. Otherwise, it's just impossible.
Wow. I just thank you so much for highlighting those things. Joe is a national 200 meters record holder. And then you have Azamati as a 100-meter record holder going into this. And so in all of our history as an athletics nation, I mean, these are the best guys that we have. You've already spoken about the attributes of Sean Safwenchi, who interestingly was in the World 60 meters indoor final 2018. So there's no doubt he's that explosive. But what is developing here is the third leg of the national team. I was with the team in Doha, and we watched the exchange between Azamati and Martin Osonchi. It delayed just a little bit. And it's certainly one of the issues of concern for a lot of people now. How do you hope to rectify that?
Well, the thing is that, of course, I agree with you that the third leg has been an issue for the team. Both myself and Leonard Myles-Mills and Jollof, we have been working with this team since 2019, and we've tried different things. And going into this Olympic Games, we believe that we will try other things. I'm not going to sit here and give everything out, but we're going to try different things. I had a short debriefing with the athletes after we got disqualified, and we talked about possible things that we can do, including bringing other people into the team. All of this can be done through being together for a long time and fixing things. I mean, the thing is, we realized, for example, we got disqualified, and you realize when they got the baton, it was right at the end of the exchange zone. We can perfect that in the future. We can actually make it a goal to take the baton at the very end of the exchange zone and get somebody like Azamati with his 100-meter strength to run a longer lap and give the baton and give us an advantage. So even if we don't bring in a new person and Joseph Menu runs that same leg, remember that Joseph Menu, this is his first international meet. Right. Martin is more of a long sprinter, and we put him there too. And Joseph Menu, I found out when we got there, normally don't take batons. He is actually a first leg for his school track team. And he did that also at Nkrumah University. You know, so for the guy to step up and go at the international stage and actually go there and do what he did. Yes, we got disqualified, but I cannot blame the guy. This is amazing, just short of amazing what they did. So I think that, yes, we have issues, but most of the issues stem from lack of preparation. I'll tell you that. Because apart from a few countries in the world, nobody can say that all of their four legs are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a few
strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, there are always weaknesses, but you just have to work to minimize the impact of the weakness. And that's what I'm hoping that with time together, these guys can, I know for sure that they can get a medal at the Olympics if they get the time together, and God willing, we get, I mean, this race, half of the time is by luck. Let me give you an example. The Brazilian team has been camping in the United States of America for 3 months for this competition. For the relays.
They still got DQ'd.
And they still got DQ'd. You see what I mean? People don't even realize how cold it was over there. Right before the race, Azamati had his foot in front of a warmer, a heater that's supposed to heat the place. He was warming up his feet because he couldn't feel his toes. So again, these are some of the things that people don't realize that the athletes have to deal with. And even if you prepare, things happen because you're dealing with human beings, right? So yes, preparation minimizes the possibility of mistakes, but you cannot totally eliminate these kind of things from a race. You have people running 9 seconds and they come into you. So you realize what can happen.
Yeah, I mean, I remember a conversation I was having with a friend, Angela Santin, and I after saying, yes, we need to do this, we need to do that to help the team. I then told her that even the Americans, the Jamaicans, GB, all have these problems at the highest level. So they are not robots; they are human beings. So the human error is always going to be one of the issues you can't really control, but you can only minimize it, as you say, with proper preparations. Put it down, let them be confident that they can do it and go out there and be able to achieve this. So I'm also of the view we don't target anybody in this particular discussions, but then yes, we definitely want to talk about the facts and how it panned out. But so here we were in the final, and I remember a message you sent to me prior to even the semifinals. I had actually projected Ghana was going to run 37 seconds. And then you told me that, no, the weather situation is that bad. It's been raining, it's cold out there. And so I don't know if you can just click to this video. And it's only Ghana and Brazil who got DQ'd here. I mean, this was an error strewn competition or a final. So many of the teams just messing up.
Yeah, you saw the German guy, for example, he didn't even run more than 50 meters. He got a hamstring injury right away and stopped. And it was raining and cold, and that was the main problem. A lot of mistakes were happened, because if you look at this year, Ghana was right there, even still ahead. But you see that Manu had to shuffle the baton in his hand because of the mistake that happened on the third leg. He had the end of the baton on the wrong side. So that delayed the exchange between even him and Joe Paul. And Joe Paul also saw that he had already missed the exchange. Manu had missed the exchange with Azamati. So Joe Paul almost didn't even take off. And so
he was slow. He was slow in taking off.
Yeah. So even if Joe Paul didn't see what happened and he had taken off at the right time, we probably have still won the race and still got disqualified. You see what I mean? So this was our chance, to be honest. This was a good chance for us to win a gold medal at the world stage in the relay. Because I remember after the meet, I had dinner with Joe Paul, Sean, and Azamati. Manu was so distraught that he didn't even want to go eat. So we left him to be by himself a little bit. Then later on went to get him. And on the way down, they asked me, so has Ghana ever won a medal at the this level? And I think I misunderstood their question. So I said no, but I think they were talking in general. But if it's in general, then we talk about the likes of Geisa and Margaret Simpson and those things. But when it comes to the relay, that's what I thought they were asking me. And I told them, no, this was our chance, And it was unfortunate what happened, but, everything happens for a reason. Our goal, our main goal was to get there. Our main goal was to get there, to be able to qualify for the Olympics. And I remember Sean even saying something that if we're going to be disqualified, it's better it happens here than at the Olympic Games. And think about it this way. This is how the kids said these boys care about themselves and about the country, because there's money in this World Relay Championships. Like if they have won, that's $40,000.
Mm-hmm.
And he is willing to give that up to win an Olympic medal that there's no money in.
Yeah.
You see, this is the kind of athletes we're dealing with. And I applaud all the coaches that help these kids, like Mohammed in Kwame Nkrumah University, Elon at University of Ghana, working with Azamati, all the other local coaches that are coaching these kids, and they are coming up. Yes, they're coming up at the national level. I mean, and their parents, because you know what, the coaches can do all they want. If a parent doesn't bring their kids up right, you see it. And we have athletes like that are selfish and don't want to do things for the team. But this group of people we have are not like that.
It's good to hear it from you. I mean, you're a man of experience and you know this stuff. I was not with the team at the African Games 2019, so I just watched them from afar. But I tell you the truth, the moment I saw them run that semifinals, I knew they were going to win the gold. And so I was just wondering what really cuts across these guys. Yes, I knew Martin and Joe Paul came from KNUST, having been with them at the 2016 African University Games in Joburg. And there's a photo of you and the quartet that won the gold at Abuja 2003. But I get to meet the guys at Doha, and Prof, the togetherness, the camaraderie, that oneness and a sense of purpose. Even when issues were coming up about per diem, you just felt these guys were not too bothered about that. They really want to achieve something that nobody has been able to do. And for me, that's just one, from an outside view, from a journalistic perspective, it's just something great to behold.
That's exactly why you sent me these pictures and stuff like that ahead of the interview. I intentionally, when you started asking this question, I intentionally brought this picture up at this point. And the reason why I did is because of exactly what you are saying. That's what it takes, the togetherness. Like this team that you see, my Leo, Aziz in Kansa, myself, and the other people that were the reserve on this team, we, for example, had the same kind of relationships that these boys have. That year in 2003, before we went to Abuja, Leo, myself, and Aziz, we bought our own plane tickets and flew to Germany. The four of us at a town called Bremer, we went there, stayed in a one-bedroom apartment. Look how big these guys are. One-bedroom apartment, trained together, and competed on our own to get ready for this competition with no national support. You know, we did it on our own. Like these guys, as you see, the togetherness is very important. Because without that, this is why teams like United States of America drop batons all the time, because they don't have that togetherness. And that's what
the egos.
Yes, egos doesn't play a role on our team. I mean, Joseph Menu came on this team, and if you see him with the team, it looks like he's been there with them forever. Latifa joined the team. If an outsider see Latifa with the team, it's almost like, oh, they are always together. That's the difference. And if I have an athlete, if I was the one selecting for Ghana, and I had an athlete that had run, let's say 9.8 seconds, and that person is a distraction to the team, I'd rather not have the person there, to be honest with you, because that doesn't help anybody. You know, like when Joseph Paul and met the Azamati and Gadayi Dems at African Championships, he didn't let them feel that they are less important than him.
Yeah.
He made them feel that they are just as important as him, and that's what makes a difference.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Coach, it's been a long talk here, and I'm sure a lot of people will pick a lot of thoughts through this as we see the photos. That bond at this stage, it's all about this. I think this was after the semifinals. They were in a really happy mood. Qualified for the Olympic Games, qualified for the World Championships in Eugene. And I mean, just look at the smiles, the look. And there's this thing about Sean. Sean is always trying to prove that he knows how to speak the Chi language. And he'll be coming up with the rest of them will be laughing out at him, but he doesn't mind anybody. And but he's the most experienced member amongst his team.
Right, he is, and he's a linchpin. I mean, the guy is just a wonderful guy to be around. Funny as hell, and he understands everything you say in trees, but just speaking wise is a little problem for him. But he doesn't shy away from it. He will say everything in tree when he has to. So he's a wonderful guy to be. I actually found out that his older brother was my junior at Topoku High School. I never knew that.
Wow.
And so he even then, after the competition, his brother called and said, hey, I heard this guy is with you. It's like, what guy? Because he used my nickname. And Sean doesn't know my nickname. So then when he found out, he said, you never told me that's your nickname. I'm like, yeah, that's my nickname. And then he asked his brother, why didn't you run? And his brother was like, because I was little. He said, look at me. I'm the shortest in the family. Look what I'm doing. You just missed your chance. You know, and that's the kind of guy that we have, you know.
Wow. All right, so that's Sean. First time I met him was the 2016 Olympic Games. He came to Rio and it was like a baptism of fire. He ran 10.43 in the heat and exited. But that determination, that purpose, you know, about him. And if he starts showing you that sort of posture, no matter who you are on the team, you also have to be able to toe that line. And then, you know, the oneness of purpose going through. But looking forward to the Olympic Games, it's going to be difficult to select this team going forward because now you are established. Everybody else will want to be part of this team, and it's not too far away. What is the plan? Are you, as people are saying, if the Black Stars are getting $25 million, and maybe you guys also deserve $1 billion or $10 million?
Well, we do deserve some money. And it's not just deserve, we need. I wouldn't say deserve, but we need. Because these kids have put their lives online. For example, Joseph Paul had to travel to Ghana. People don't know this, but he traveled to Ghana a few weeks before this championship so that he can renew his U.S. passport, his U.S. visa, sorry, in order to be able to travel to Poland. So he missed 1 week of school just to do that. And then missed another few days of school just to represent Ghana. If a person is willing and able to put his life on hold for the country, we need, as a country, to support these kids. We need to give them all the resources that they need. We need to put them in camp. We need to give them the money that they need to travel to compete and get ready. Without that, it's going to be difficult because the margins are very slim at the Olympic Games. And if you don't invest in your team, there's no way they're going to be successful. I hate to have a situation where at the end, at the Olympics, they say, oh, now we are devoting money to the team. It will be too late. I'd rather you give me the money now, the little that you have, than wait and give me money at the end. You know that when these kids went to represent Ghana in the 2019 World Championship, where you were with them, our country did them wrong. We didn't even give them per diem. And up to now, they haven't received any money from anybody. And I heard today from somebody that there's some rumors that they received money for Doha. You were there, Erasmus. Did we receive any money for these kids? No.
Absolutely nothing at Doha. If something came later on, I don't know anything about. But Doha,
nothing came.
I mean, it was so bad. And that's what I was trying to highlight. The girls were open to talk about it, but none of these guys spoke. They were all quiet about it. Not because they felt that they didn't deserve it.
The girls have been around longer. You have Flint and Gemma, they've been around longer, so they are more vocal. These kids, they have their own reservations in their hearts. And that's the most dangerous part, People that don't speak out, sometimes it's worse when they speak out.
Yeah. Wow. But I still have a few questions about the girls. I mean, they ran a wonderful 42.67 in Ghana, 2016 to qualify for the Olympic Games. That qualified them to the World Championship 2017. But if you look at the times, yes, they were in Yokohama. They made the finals. They qualified for Doha. But the times have not been that progressive. And so there's a real concern with the girls. And you look at the team and you just feel that, yes, many of them might not be at their best form now. So there's that need to, if there's a word transition, get new blood, into the team and then get them, running super times again. How does the future look like for them? And I was looking at the list after the World Relays. We have only 2 slots left for Tokyo, which makes it very difficult, to be able to qualify. I mean, absolutely what it means, you need the best times in the world, the next few weeks, next few months to Tokyo.
Yes, you're right. To be honest, we all know, for example, Halu Tieho, who's kind of new too, in a sense, was nursing injuries before this competition. You have, Flinks had not raced this outdoor season yet. Janet Amponsah is just coming back. But you look at somebody like Latifa, you have other athletes that are also coming through the pipeline. And you're right, it's, the transition is naturally going to happen. As I mentioned at the very beginning of this interview, I feel that if we have more time, but of course, we don't have the time now, but if the resources are there, we can bring in other athletes and at least attempt, because it's like the lottery. If you don't play the lottery, you will not win, right? So if we attempt, yes, it's only 2 slots left, we can do something. We can bring in new blood. We can move. You see, for example, I changed the order of the relay for the women.
So there's a question I wanted to ask you.
Yeah. Because of, I had to play to the strength of the people that I had. So I put my strongest 2 legs up front to give us a chance, But yes, if Miss Anochi made it, it probably would have changed a lot for us, right? But it didn't happen. To be honest, I don't understand why it didn't happen. But she is the only one that can explain that because everybody had to scramble. Everybody had to scramble to make this happen. From Sean even getting to the airport and them telling him that his COVID test has expired, having to go home. Then Andrew Usu and Mr. Bauer having to rebook his ticket. He flew in the last day possible, that Friday, and he flew in. He had 2 hours of rest, and we had our first practice. So it gets to a point as an athlete, you need to start also to wake up and also understand that you have to make some sacrifices, and yes, we didn't maybe, as you're saying, yes, we do need a revamp on the women's side, but it takes time and it takes the resources to put them together. We even still have the African Championships coming up. And even if they don't qualify for the Olympics, we still need to have a representation that could be the start of a new, women team. So why not?
Exactly. Is there a way back for Jocelyn Anochi? Is she welcome?
Why not? Me, for example, I don't ever hold grudges. Like we have another athlete, for example, Emmanuel Yeboah, that couldn't join us in Morocco for his own reasons, but he's one of the athletes that I'm sure we will consider for the Olympic Games. So Ms. Anochi, if she's willing and willing to join the team, nobody's going to stop her from not doing so. Yes, sometimes some of the comments that are made, it makes other people feel some way because you're accusing them of something that probably they didn't do at a certain time, and that hurts. But we all have to put the interests of the country first, and that's what is important. We why will I leave my job here and go and travel, to Silesia to be with the team, or to Morocco to be with the team? I don't need to do that. But I love Ghana, and we all want the best for our country. And so I don't think anybody's going to penalize her for not coming if she's willing, because this is actually the second time that we expected her to be with the team, and it didn't happen. This time, the first time was in Morocco, and
wow.
This is the second time. Because the first time I didn't know why she didn't show up, but I just found out that she was actually in Ghana at the time and said that she was injured, and we didn't know. And it was too late for us to replace her. So we went to Morocco without a reserve. So when one of our athletes got hurt, we had to turn to a jumper. And that's what caused a baton to be dropped over there, because Deborah, bless her heart, had to step in. And that was her first time running with the team. And exactly, they dropped the baton. And it wasn't Deborah's fault either. These relay things is a matter of chemistry. And Deborah is a very strong athlete, and she is one of the people that, for example, if I'm considering new people on the team, she'll be one of the people I'll consider as one of the important legs for us.
Yeah, and she's almost qualified for the Olympics in the long jump. 6.8? Yeah. 8-1?
Set several national records this year too. So she's an amazing one.
She missed the Olympics by 0.01 meters. I think she's going to eventually qualify in the long jump. To be great to see her. Right. But I see the Ghana banner behind you, still hoisting the flag. So which school are you? What subject area are you?
Well, I'm currently at a school called Baldwin Wallace University. It's a private university in Cleveland, Ohio. I teach finance and economics here, mostly finance, but I do teach economics in graduate school too.
Whoa. And you've been doing this for a while?
Right. I've been a professor since 2005, actually.
2005.
I was actually writing my dissertation at the Gaines Village in 2004.
In Athens?
Yeah. That's when I was writing my dissertation. So whilst everybody was having fun, I was typing away on my computer.
Wow. And I've been calling you Dr. all this while. Didn't know you were a full professor. Anyway, so thanks so much. Thanks so much. Maybe a word out there to the athletes back home. I pick up on this particular theme because I'm still looking at the guys on screen. With Menu came through tech, Joe Paul came through tech, and as Amati came through UG, they were all running 10.6, 10.7. 2 years or 1 year later, as Amati is running sub 10. Amazing. And so it gives you a different perspective when you see these guys competing at the circuit championship, open championships in Ghana. It means everybody is a potential. Just needs some tweaking, a little bit of things change here and there, and you could be, at the Olympic Games, at the World Championships. What would you want to tell the athletes?
I just tell them to keep their head up. For example, I reached out to Gadai today, and I was telling him that, hey, you need to work hard. You can still make this team. Yes, there are other people running better than you, but you are in Ghana. It doesn't mean that you cannot be successful. Sometimes it takes the mindset to be able to, and I know he's very disappointed. He was supposed to join us, and I actually took a picture of his bib, that he was supposed to wear. You know how everybody, they have their names in front of them in this picture. I have
one. I actually have one.
Yeah, I intentionally sent it to him as a motivating factor for him. I sent it to him just this morning, and I say, hey, I know you were not there, but let this be your motivation. Because you know what? During that time, we used to have national trials before we go to Olympics and stuff like that. And often, some of the local base athletes, like myself, Erin Kinkansa, Aziz Zakari, would beat some of the foreign base athletes, And it's not, it's difficult to be successful in Ghana. Think about all the financial hardships that some of these athletes don't even have food to eat. And look at our track facilities for them. You go to Alwak and stuff like it's a shame. And so, yes, it's difficult, but it's not impossible. And for example, Joseph Paul, actually, I didn't even know that he went to secondary school with Joseph Menu. They both went to Premier College. And we have a banter because I went to Pokuari. So we have this thing going on between the two of us, And we were talking about this the other day. And, the baseline is even the secondary school level. And I believe that that's where we need to start focusing our attention also as a nation, like in development of sports. We need to give the secondary school PE teachers and stuff like that the resources. Even if I have my way, the coaches of the NSA should be pushed into the secondary school system. I think that's where the development needs to take place. We need to have more competition. For example, in Ghana, they have the interco like within a 1 month period, and that's it. Come to the United States of America and see every weekend they have competition. In the summer, they have AAU meet for kids. They have clubs and stuff like they compete. So these people are drilled over and over and over again in order for them to be successful. We as a nation need to start changing our way that we look at sports. This is also a way of getting people out of poverty. A lot of these kids are getting scholarships to come to America, coming to good schools and stuff like that, getting degrees, and some of them are staying here. The remittances that they're going to send back home and things like that. All of these are sources of, revenue and stuff like that for our country and our people. And so for me, I think we need to start having a different mindset. We are just having a mindset of, oh yeah, we're going to go to the World Cup. We're going to go to this. There's no real development plan. That's my issue.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Dan. We'll have to leave it here. But that gold medal, the national record, I'm sure at a point will go down. 38-112, 38-1-2. I think that's a national record. These boys are going to run 37 at a point in time. And the future just looks bright. It's only going to get better.
I actually even thought that if the weather was better in Poland, I wouldn't have been surprised that they would have taken that, even with the lack of practice together, I wouldn't have been surprised if they took down that national record. That's how much I believe in this team. That's it. We believe in. We still believe in. And so we definitely wish you the very best going forward. Thank you so much, Professor Christian Nsiah, for your time. So, Coach,
of the national team at Silesia 2021 at the World Relays, was also there 2019 when Ghana won gold in the 4x100 relay in Rabat. And so kudos again. And till we meet again, we say bye for now.
Thank you very much. Take care.
All right, take care.